Hello, welcome to Queer Cinema Catchup. I'm Joe.
And I'm Allison.
And this is a podcast where we explore queer movies, TV shows, and other miscellaneous topics.
Today we'll be doing a double feature in which we discuss Drive-Away Dolls and Love Lies Bleeding.
So we saw these movies quite a bit ago. This probably won't be as plot-driven, especially compared to the last episode where we talked about I Saw the TV Glow, where we were fresh off seeing that movie.
This was in the winter for both movies for me. And for you, I think it was the winter for Drive-Away Dolls, and I think it was the winter the winter for Love Lies Bleeding, but early winter, January, because that's when Sundance is. So that's easier for me to place. One interesting thing, though, is that we both had the movie Love Lies Bleeding presented to us by Kristen Stewart. And Joe, I know, has already told this story about how he got to go to the premiere of Love Lies Bleeding, where Kristen Stewart and a bunch of the other cast was there. They did a Q&A. Kristen Stewart interrupted James Franco to yell,
"Man, shut the fuck up."
In humor. For me, I did not know that I was going to a special screening. My friend was like, no, this is like a special showing. Like, it's not a Q&A, but Katie O'Brien, who's the other star of Love Lies Bleeding, is going to introduce it. And I was like, really? And the director was like, really? And I looked it up and it was like Katie O'Brien and cast. And so I was very excited because I've been wanting to take a peek and see Kristen Stewart because we both live in the same neighborhood. So she did. She was there.
You could have carpooled with her.
If only. That would be sick. But
unfortunately,
unfortunately,
pick me up.
We got there and the whole theater got really quiet. And then out they came. And Kristen was like, oh, you guys cosplayed for this. I don't think people were dressed up. I think it was just a lot of lesbians were there. And so they looked like lesbians.
Yeah.
But she was like, I just want to say thank you so much. Coming out here on a Friday night to see film. That's what it's all about. And then they go to Katie O'Brien. She's like, this is great because guys, after this, we all get to go home and go to bed. She was really tired, I think. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But it was a good start to the film.
What did you think of Rose Glass?
I mean, honestly, she's very diminutive.
What does that mean?
Small. She's got red hair. It's like a pixie cut.
I thought it was blonde pixie.
I'm Google imaging her. I would say that's red. Okay.
So what movie do you want to start out with?
Well, I think it might be good to do a little bit of a comparison. We could very quickly do a brief summary of each.
Okay.
Do you want to summarize Love Lies Bleeding?
Love Lies Bleeding is about a woman in a small town, very rural, and this woman, she's working at a gym and she discovers a new person has come into town who is Katie O'Brien's character, who is this very well-built woman who is wanting to compete in bodybuilding competitions. And so she's training at Kristen Stewart's gym, and Kristen Stewart immediately becomes infatuated with this woman. The two start a very passionate affair. Katie O'Brien, turns out she has nowhere to live. She ends up living with Kristen Stewart and they kind of become enraptured in each other. But meanwhile, there's this darker undertone. Kristen Stewart has family members, a sister and a father, both of whom are going through their own problems. And Kristen Stewart's father is kind of the big bad of the movie. And I can't remember if it's revealed that he's Kristen Stewart's father in the beginning or if it's kind of alluded to, but basically it kind of comes down to kind of the idea of who can you really trust, and also things from your past can come back to haunt you is kind of what I took from it, because there was this repeating flashback of Kristen Stewart helping her father. I think, do we see them throw bodies down the...
Yes, but it's really fascinating because they keep showing the scene of Lou looking into the ravine, looking like she's being forced to watch this happen, but it ultimately builds to the reveal that
she participated.
And is broken from her father, and his way of crime and his way of being has very much rejected him. And yet the movie, I thought, did a really interesting job of showcasing how she was a lot like her dad, even though she's broken from his unethical, immoral practices.
And overall...
Wait, can we quickly describe Drive-Away Dolls and then say which one we liked better?
Yeah.
Then we can phone a friend. We have a whole plan this time, but I didn't tell Joe what the plan was.
Not only are we going to describe the plots of the movie, we're going to describe the plot of this episode.
Okay, so Drive-Away Dolls. It's interesting this movie came out around the same time.
Yeah, and I looked up, we saw it February 23rd.
It feels like a lifetime ago.
I mean, I guess that was 3 months ago, so...
A lifetime, I said. A lifetime.
I mean, it kind of is a long time ago.
I mean, that's sometimes I feel like, okay, you're a week, that's nothing. But then you live a week, and if you're really thinking and reflecting, you're like, wow, a lot happens in a week.
Yeah, I measure my weeks in pickleball games.
Well, you play a lot of
pickleball. It's Pickleball Monday again, of which, you guys, I'm finally just really coming into my own. I feel very confident when I walk on the pickleball courts. I just feel like I see all the pickleball players. When I first started playing, I didn't know what to do or how to act. And
you hide behind your racket.
Now I'm going up to the courts every day being like, Jordan, how are you? I like your backhand. You're really improving. Or last week, you like show up and you're not assigned like courts yet. They kind of do that once they take attendance. So you just kind of like free play with people. And I just started free playing with some people. And I could just tell they weren't the best players. And I was like, oh, like, are you guys beginners? Like, yes. And then so I started giving them pointers.
Wait, that's
and it just felt
nice.
like a real, like, I don't know. It just felt really fun.
I mean, I think that speaks to like if you put in the time to learn something and you kind of get over that initial embarrassment of like being bad at something, it's really worthwhile.
And then also that kind of leads into, you and I did drink and draw last week, which is also kind of the same thing.
Yes.
It's this fun thing where a model will show up and then you just like draw them for an hour.
I love it.
And Allison really did a great job. Basically, everyone who, for the most part, is there are incredible artists.
Because it's Hollywood, baby.
It's Hollywood. And I remember the first time that I went, after you do like a 5-minute drawing session, you put all the drawings out in the center and everyone kind of like look around and observe. And when I found out we were first doing that, I was like, oh my, I can't show mine. This is humiliating. And then when I went with Allison, she just like without question was like, yeah, put my drawing out there.
You missed a little bit. I was like a little hesitant the first round. The guy who runs it was like really like, just do it. Yeah. I was like, no. And then I found out there was a prize and that they don't always pick the best ones. And I was like, all right. Yeah. I'll do it. I lost all shame. But I do feel like I have a little bit of ability. And I think it's because, to take you back, I like really wanted to be an artist in like first, second grade. And I would spend a lot of my time drawing. I even remember I would like go up to random classmates who I wasn't friends with and I would gift them drawings of horses or like drawings of things I thought they would like. And I'd be like, this is for you.
Horses are one of the hardest things for artists to draw, I've heard.
Just go ahead and imagine the best horse a second grader can draw. Hold that in your mind. And then hear this next part of the story, which is that my other friend, they were a very talented drawer for that age group. And one time we were walking, talking about our drawings, and I don't know, just something in the way. She was like answering me, and I just had this sense all of a sudden that she didn't think a lot about my art. And so I was like, you don't think I'm a good drawer, do you? And she was like, like you can say it, be honest, you can say it. She's like, I mean, not really. And then I was like kind of quiet, I was like reflecting on my drawings, and I was like, is it the hands?
On the horse?
No. I don't know. Just isn't that my hands? She was like, yes, just to fully explain. I'm sure my horses were fine, but the way I used to draw hands for people, so I draw a circle, and I would draw like little lines coming out of the hand for fingers. So that's the story.
And that was mean.
If someone asked me if I thought they were a good drawer, and they wanted to be a famous artist when they grew up, and we were best friends who bonded. You wanted to be a famous artist
when you grew up?
I think I just wanted to be. That's what I said at the time, I believe. And anyway, your whole friendship was based around art. And then she's like, yeah, oh yeah, you're not that good. So,
and then what happened? What was the results?
I think I was pretty resilient, you know? I didn't really like things get to me.
Yeah.
How did we get on the show? Oh yeah, we went to drink and draw. Yeah. It was really fun. I want to go back. And you should stick with things like pickleball and drawing even.
Hey, you don't need to tell me that.
Okay.
Driveway Dolls. Or not to be confused with what was it going to be initially called?
It's what we call Driveway Dykes. And that was the original title when this script was written, I think in the 90s or in the 2000s. It took a very long time to get it made. Now they were like, you can't call it that. You can't put that on a marquee. But they were very heartbroken at the end of the film. When the title comes up, it is Driveway Dykes, even though the movie is actually called Driveway Dolls.
Wow.
But anyway, it's interesting that these movies came out at the same time because they both are like lesbian crime focused road trip elements.
Wait, you haven't told the plot of Driveway Dolls.
I know, I'm about to right now. Driveway Dolls focuses on one kind of buttoned up, repressed lesbian friend. Demure might be the name, named Marion. And her friend, who's kind of a more free spirit, definitely not repressed young woman named Jamie. And Jamie has just gotten broken up with her girlfriend, who was played by Beanie Feldstein, who's a cop. And so Marion's like, I need to get out of town. I'm basically really depressed. And it seems like she hasn't like been with anybody romantically in like a year and a half or longer. Mm-hmm. And she's just has a really hard time like expressing herself in that way. And so she's like, I gotta get out of town. I'm really depressed. I'm gonna go visit my like aunt in Florida. And then Marion's like, I'm gonna come with you. And she's like, no, don't come with me. But then they kind of go embark on this road trip. But as they're trying to get out of town, they end up doing this thing where it's like not quite renting a car, but it's like, we'll take this car and we'll drive it where it needs to go and we won't have to pay for it. But in the trunk of the car is kind of the MacGuffin. You don't get to know what it is for a while, but some bad men are after it. So they start to try and track these two lesbian ladies down as they embark on their road trip with the more free spirit character, Jamie, played by Margaret Qualley.
And Margaret Qualley had a Texas accent. She was like, I like having sex and smoking cigarettes. That's what I like to do.
And honestly, she probably said that during the movie. And the Texas accent, I don't know how successful it was. She was really great. She's very charming.
Didn't care. Like a lot of people commented on the Texas accent, but I just really loved her energy. And whenever she was on the screen, I really enjoyed seeing her.
I think she's very talented, made Great limited series starring Margaret Qualley. And then the other character is played by Geraldine Viswanathan.
The one from Cockwalkers?
Yes, both were very good, as was Beanie. Also, I always say Beanie's last name wrong. I was going to give this disclaimer. I'm going to say it every episode. I'm really bad at pronouncing things. So that's the plot. And just from that very high-level summary / based on your own memories, which of these movies, Joe, did you like more?
Without a doubt, Love Lies Bleeding.
Whoa.
So I have this issue when I go to movies that I'm really self-conscious about is I have to go to the bathroom a lot. This movie screening, I must have drank a lot of water beforehand. Probably had a giant Diet Coke, thanks to Allison getting me addicted to the AMC Diet Coke. Even though at Burbank 16, for as much as I love it, worst drinking station ever.
Something's been going on
The
with
soda
it.
fountain does not get syrup to the machines. They are watered down. They need to fix it. I've also heard of the Big Picture podcast, Amanda complaining about it. So there is something to it.
Just to let everybody know, I'm going to be writing blog posts about every episode. As a result, I've been looking back at our transcripts. And do you know that we've basically talked about either the Big Picture podcast or the sister podcast, The Rigor, in almost every
Episode?
Okay, but do you think going to the bathroom several times maybe took you out of the movie?
Well, no, because here's the thing. Usually I'm really devastated when I have to go to the bathroom during a movie because I want to stick around and see what's happening. But during this movie, I had to go twice. And the second time, I was rushing out of the movie theater. I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom and get back. And then I went out to the hallway and I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't really need to get back very fast. I kind of slowly went to the bathroom and kind of lingered back and then walked back to the movie theater.
Maybe this took away from your viewing experience because you missed a very crucial plot point.
I did.
But I hear you. That's how I felt during Quantumania.
Well,
and I was really jealous of you because you had an important phone call to take that made you 20 minutes late
I
to
found
the
out
movie.
the gender of my...
Oh, I didn't know if you wanted to share that part. But yeah, it's a very exciting, wonderful call.
niece.
And was really sweet, just as a side tangent, kind of like in The West Wing where they're trying to let everybody know if the rocket launched. I don't remember the context of this, but they had to do a rocket symbol with their hands and if it was successful. Joe and I came up with a symbol, so I would also know the sex of the baby,
about that.
which is really cute.
What was the symbol?
I actually think it was something like rocket related.
Or like thumbs up or...
Clearly, yeah, thumbs up. I was definitely thinking of West Wing, but
That's crazy.
during that movie, I was bored out of my mind.
Wow. Who would have thought we'd be mentioning Quantumanium on this episode?
Don't get me started on that movie. I'll just tell you how.
But there's definitely at the beginning of the
terrible it
year, it feels like we were watching a lot of... Whoa, oh my God. No, Quantumanium would have been over the summer. That's a year ago, probably.
I just am so glad to be far away.
I was about to loop that in with all our winter screenings, but I feel like there was a time where we were going to a lot of AMC movies and
We were.
we've kind of slowed down for a little bit.
series
Maybe,
season.
Maybe we'll pick up again.
I think it will. I was looking at our spreadsheet and it definitely will. There's a lot of movies coming out.
I saw the new Planet of the Apes.
You did?
Yeah.
When?
Your mom was visiting. Oh, we didn't talk about your mom visiting.
My gosh. My mom is going to be upset to learn that you weren't able to give a review.
Oh, I liked it. The marketing for this newest Planet of the Apes really got me. Like, I didn't even care really about the series. I was really indifferent about it, but whatever they did for this most recent trailer, I was like, I've got to see this movie. I must see this movie. So I was really excited to go.
You know, that's really funny to me because my mom loves Planet of the Apes. They're great sci-fi concepts. So I will always want to go see them because I just enjoy them. But I didn't think about the marketing for this one. I didn't really appreciate the part with the child.
It disturbed you?
No, I just thought it was kind of silly.
Oh.
But I'm sure if I saw it, I would like it. And I do want to see it. So, but yeah, it's interesting that you had such a strong preference for one over the other of these two films because I really didn't have a strong preference. I had a good time at both and the performances were great.
Yeah. I mean, I have my complaints about Love Lies Bleeding too, but I think I definitely prefer that one over Driveway Dolls.
Well, maybe we should
phone a friend.
And that friend is named Will Schlaack, who we see a lot of movies with. He used to live in LA. He no longer does. So now we have to only talk about movies on the phone for the most part. And so we just thought it'd be a really nice way to connect with him.
We'll see
if
he answers, and B, if he's see.
We're not positive, but he's really a big letterbox guy. And I feel like he tries to see everything.
Hello.
William.
Hi.
You are on the QCC podcast. How are you?
There we go.
I was like, he's hung up?
No, my AirPods, I dropped them in water accidentally and then they just
No.
Oh my gosh, are they okay?
No, it's condensation from my glass of Diet Coke.
Oh,
we were just talking about Diet Coke.
You just caught me in the middle of watching Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
oh my gosh, Will.
Wait, are you at the movie right now?
No, Dawn of the Planet of
Oh.
Well, you don't understand though. We were just talking about Diet Coke because we were talking about going to the theater because Joe just saw Planet of the Apes.
the Apes. That would have been too crazy.
I had to step away from the theater to take a phone call.
So, William,
Yes.
you're a big movie guy. Do you have any guesses on what movies we're talking about?
Both fall under the QCC umbrella.
With a Western twist, and they came out this year.
Okay, I just saw a gay Western national anthem.
No.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Drive Away Dolls.
That's one of them.
You got
Yeah.
one, yeah?
Love Lies Bleeding.
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I had to choose between those two,
Have you seen both them?
yes.
I would not be surprised. Like, I feel like Will sees everything. Which one did you like better?
Oh, Love Lies Bleeding.
I agree with you, Will.
I enjoyed them both.
And she likes
had a
drawing horses with hands on them.
Listen to the podcast, Will, to find out why.
Allison was like, in second grade, I would draw pictures of horses for my friend. One of her friends, Alice, was like, do you not like my drawing? And her friend was like, no. And then Allison said, was it the hands? I was like, what?
Like, if
You're drawing hands on horses?
Yeah.
I would say I wouldn't like them either. That's
I think I see
disturbing.
where the miscommunication
And then
was.
Alice was like, no, I would draw hands in glass separately from the horses.
For the rider. The rider.
The person on the horse.
I was a horse girl.
Were you a big drawer, Will?
No, but it's funny you talk about drawing horses, and I think back to Spirit of the Cimmerillion.
Oh, Spirit the movie?
I loved the bonus features on the DVDs as a kid.
Aw.
And one of the bonus features was drawing Spirit, and they had us draw like the muscular structure of like, they're like, all right, and these muscles here, and I'm like 5 years old being like, I just want to draw the sexy horse. Draw him. So yes, I've drawn horses. But only sexy ones.
And no hands on them, only hooves. So Love Lies Bleeding is your choice over Drive Away Dolls. Any specific reasons why?
I really enjoyed the metaphor and the cinematography of it all. I just thought that the story was more interesting.
Yeah.
And that's funny because I typically go for a film like Drive Away Dolls. And I walked into Drive Away Dolls completely blind. I love Beanie Feldstein. And I should have been like gung-ho. But that goddamn accent that, what's her
Margaret.
face does?
Margaret.
Yes.
Well, I guess you're from Texas, so you'd have more opinions
That's
than
true.
either of us. Can you do your Dolly Parton impression?
Hi, honey, babe. It's me, Dolly P.
Hold up. Let me just pull up my Letterboxd review.
That's a good idea. That's a nice idea.
I saw this at like 2:15 on a Wednesday afternoon.
On a Tuesday afternoon, and you didn't like it during the day. Interesting.
I don't like it at night either. I'm sorry.
Allison has a theory that when you see a movie during the day, that you'll like it more.
It's not my theory.
Oh,
I just subscribe to
I
it.
disagree. I said about Drive Away Dolls. I said when it hits, and when it don't, oof, it sure don't.
Yeah.
The way that she was saying things in it made like she should have just gone agree at the end of every.
It was a very like campy,
line.
cartoony
Yeah.
Thank you.
performance.
But I'd say that the movie like it was very cartoony.
Yeah.
What's the one with from the 80s, the Coen Brothers great movie with the baby? If you haven't seen it, it's so good. Raising Arizona, I think.
Oh.
Have you ever seen
I haven't
it?
seen Raising Arizona.
You have
No.
not?
No.
Oh my gosh. Do yourself a favor. This is a homework assignment for both of you.
All right.
And then, yeah, I'd agree with Love Lies Bleeding. Just the cinematography is really incredible. I remember the first
Yeah,
opening
scene was
image of the
great.
movie is there's that shot from like the sky and it's going down and following Kristen Stewart or some like gym goer into the gym. And there was like pumping music and I was like, oh my gosh, like I just really felt scared of what was about to come. And then I'd like kind of alluded to this with Allison earlier when we were talking, but I felt like there were kind of like some tropes that kind of like came into like the abusive husband. I felt like they could have found something different there. And then
What I thought was interesting about that, though, was I thought that was going to be the plot. Lou's sister is married to an abusive man. It was very like textbook. So I thought the whole plot was going to be them gearing up to kill this man, then hide it.
yeah.
But what actually happens is he gets murdered like really quickly, like
Yeah.
within the first 30 minutes of the
And
movie.
one of the most gruesome on-screen deaths I've seen. I forget what happens.
His face was completely caved in.
That's right.
I think what happens is they go to the hospital. They see what he's done to the sister, and Lou is very upset. Then Katie O'Brien's character goes, I think, to tell Dave Franco to get out of town, but then she ends up murdering him.
Katie O'Brien kills Dave Franco.
For Kristen Stewart.
I don't remember that.
She's a strong lady. And then Kristen Stewart kind of becomes like her dad and trying to control Katie O'Brien's character and like hide this murder until, you know, Katie O'Brien's character ends up saving her and they decide like, all right, forget this. We're going to go to California.
I think the overarching theme to me about addiction, how like the different things that we have in our life can be a form of addiction.
Yeah.
You know, she's addicted to steroids and becomes steroids was some of the most interesting imagery in the movie.
Yeah, which I never thought I'd see like two women doing steroids together on screen. I was like, wow, this is...
But Krista didn't do it.
Yeah, she did.
She just gave it to Katie O'Brien.
Really?
She just has the access to it because she like works at the gym and all these people are like leaving it around. So she has all this. She's like, hey, you can use this.
Yeah. Yeah. The very like literal addiction of steroid use and like chasing something that you're really passionate about. And then there's also kind of like the idea of how like the difference between like love and obsession and...
I feel like I took something different from it though.
What'd
Which
you
is that,
take?
okay, so the reason Rose Glass decided to make this movie, I think everyone kept telling her that for your next feature, like you need to make something about a strong woman. And she was like, fuck that, fine, I'll make it about a literal strong woman who's a bodybuilder. And so my interpretation, like sure there's an addiction element to it, but I think the idea is like what is strength, what is power, and why is that attractive to us was kind of what was on my mind.
Yeah, I
and
like that, yeah.
at the end, Katie O'Brien literally becomes a giant, quite literally in a magical realism moment that was kind of, they kind of hinted at throughout, like every time she was injected with steroids, her like body kind of
Muscles
pulsed in strange ways.
Yeah. Almost like when you see like a werewolf transform in a
Yes.
way. It's like you'd see like the veins in her arms like... I was like, oh my gosh, whoa.
But yeah, she's actually able to like be the strong person that Lou's character had to be her whole life and protect her and kind of get the father to be the one who's like subjugated by them. And then Lou has the opportunity to shoot him, but she then rejects the way of her father and lets him live and they escape together. And it's like a different version of strength. I liked it. I liked that part.
Yeah. I just feel like even though they're both about queer women, the two movies, I just feel like they're very different movies. So it's very exciting nonetheless that we have like such a variety of, because I just feel like there's like a lot less, especially like queer female or even just female-led movies in general, I guess. So it's kind of like surprising how that happened. And we also had this year, which I'm surprised we haven't done this on the podcast, Bottoms was another one that came out.
That came out in the fall. That's why.
So yeah, it's like exciting to see so much variety. And then Driveway Dolls, yeah, I just feel like it was like had a different energy about it. It was like a little more slapstick.
Well, Ethan Cohen
Wrote it with
his wife, who is a lesbian, which you might be pausing and wondering, what? But they decided to get married when they were young. They've had other partners. They have children together, and she identifies as a lesbian. I shouldn't make fun of it. I'm not making fun of it. It's just kind of surprising.
I love this
fact.
statement though.
Wait, I should look up her name.
They dated when they were very young, and lesbians did not exist yet.
I think like they went into it knowing they knew.
They knew.
Ethan Hawke's wife, not Ethan Hawke's wife. Uma Thurman? Ryan Hawke? No.
What's going on?
Ryan, no. What? Ethan Cohen. Trisha Cook. But
the unforgettable Trisha Cook.
no, but what's interesting about this movie is that they specifically set out to make a B movie. So I don't know if that shifts your opinion at all.
Well, I'd say it was more of a D movie. So.
Oh my gosh. But like one is a Sundance film and one's intentionally going for like a B movie.
It is, yeah.
And I can give you some quotes about that.
Whoa, you got quotes?
I do. But I do feel bad that we're holding Will
Oh
hostage.
yeah, well we don't want to hold you hostage. Do you have any like what's going on in your life? What's happening? How are you?
Good.
Is the L train still running over there?
I'm going to rewatch Twin Peaks because watching I Saw the TV Glow made me want to rewatch Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
This week's episode is I Saw the TV Glow.
Coming out. What was that sigh?
I love that movie so much.
We probably should have called Will for I Saw the TV Glow.
I know,
Although we saw it before
that
he
would-
did, so that
yeah.
wouldn't have worked. But
But do you know it wasn't out that week in Chicago?
yeah, I know.
It was expanding. What?
I don't know, just
The wording that the movie was expanding. Don't they just say like a wide release? It gets a wide release.
Yeah, but you have limited and then goes wide.
yeah,
You just expanded.
well, that's fine.
Yeah, but it could also expand.
I accept it.
Because, okay, if something will open limited release, it expands and then it has their wide release. So that's what happened
true.
with I Saw the TV Glow.
It expanded onto your screen and you were able to see it.
Yes. Now it's going wide.
Wait, didn't something crazy happen? Did you see the Northern Lights?
Along the lake.
You
could see
did?
it.
What?
Will, do you have any
I
photos? Can
chose
you?
to go to bed.
You chose to go to bed?
I can see the Northern Lights anytime I'd like, as long as I hop on a plane.
That's
What?
true, I guess.
You could have just looked out your window and seen the Northern Lights.
You say look out the window as if I live on the...
You live on Lakeshore Drive.
Don't you live pretty close?
Yeah, you live in Edgewater, right?
Walk?
Yeah, but I...
Edgewater, on the edge of the water. You're right there.
Wait, what time were they visible? Like, was it really late?
Yes, it was like 11:30 midnight.
I thought you were a night owl.
No.
No.
What?
Oh, Joe.
I knew that he wasn't. Us horse people who have telepathic connection.
On your schedule, I guess I am, because
That's
everybody's
true.
a night owl. compared
That's
to you.
true.
That's true. If there ever was an early bird, it's Joseph Murphy.
If you stay up past 8:30 p.m., I'm like, that is late.
Which, by the way, everyone, it's 8:52 p.m. Don't tell Joe.
I'm sundowning.
Okay, well, I'm sorry you didn't see the Northern Lights. I heard that they're coming back to Chicago again, so you have another chance.
Thank you.
All right. Well, it was great talking to you. Thank you for being our
Yeah.
first guest.
Thank you for the 45-minute notice and then for not telling me what movie.
Well, we were debating just calling you cold.
I appreciate that opportunity to be surprised.
Guess the movie.
We need to keep a running total of our movie grids.
Well, you're winning, so congratulations.
Well, I was going to say we can start next week.
I won't improve, honestly.
No, we can do it. We can do it.
All right. Well, thank you
Yes,
for
thank you,
joining us
Will.
on the QCC. We will talk to you later.
We'll talk to you this weekend.
Talk to you later.
Okay.
Love you guys.
Love you.
too.
Bye.
So that was our friend's take. But okay, but don't you think hearing that it's a B movie changes your perspective a little bit? Because it changed my perspective.
I was joking when I said it was like a D movie. I just like,
I knew you were.
it was like a fun, silly movie.
Ethan Coen and Trisha Cook were asked in an interview, did they set out to make a B movie? Oh, yeah, said Coen. Oh, very much so. And yes, not to name names, obviously.
Sounds like a leading question, though.
I mean, I cut out whatever. I took these notes so long ago. I don't remember. Like, I feel like
how
they
it
might have
was
referenced a B
initiated.
movie in the part above.
And by B movie, I assume you mean the Jerry Seinfeld movie.
The Pop-Tarts movie?
No, he made a movie in like 2006 called The Bee Movie.
Oh.
And he's a cartoon bee.
I've never heard of such a thing. Wait, I actually don't understand this quote at all. I'm sorry, I'm looking at it now. But then they also asked, was it fun applying the tropes for randy boys to randy girls? That was the idea, said Cook. Sex can be fun and it can be raunchy. So there can be an innocence too. We want you to just be nasty and a little trashy, but also kind of pure. Are they all buffoons? We were pretty clear, said Coen, that the character was a man they were in over a dumbbell. I'm like, reading this, it's amazing. Coming up with silly ideas, said Cook, and thinking this would be fun. How do we work this into the structure of the movie? The points for me are men can be clueless, or women are powerful, strong, fun, interesting characters, or you can put queer people in the movie. It doesn't necessarily just have to be about them being queer. They can be in a genre movie. All those things I wanted to say in this movie.
Whoa.
Added Coen. You can have a raunchy boy movie, except it's girls.
Hey.
And I don't know, I just thought it
And
was
they
fun.
set out and they did it. It was fun.
It was fun. And there was like this cute part, like this cute like running motif through it where like these two
They were the
girls.
cute little dildos. They were
Okay, that part I honestly, the dildos I could have done without. There was a lot of dildos. Really the only way people had sex in this movie was with dildos.
It was really
I was
strange.
like, why? And then,
Should we talk about it?
well, okay, there is this like, the part that Joe missed, which is very essential, is the MacGuffin of the movie.
It was so essential. And I came back and the reveal had already happened. I was like, what?
The MacGuffin.
I think I walked in.
They were looking at them.
No, I walked in on Margaret Qualley was having sex with one of the dildos.
Oh.
And then I was like, where did this dildo come from? And then her friend was like, she's like, you can't have sex with that dildo. I was like, what the fuck is going on? It was like so strange.
Just for clue our audience in, so they're not feeling the same way that you did. The MacGuffin is this suitcase. Like they find the suitcase and you're like, they go into a diner, kind of reminiscent of Tarantino. Then they open it up and it's dildos. And it apparently is plaster casts of all of these very important, powerful men's penises.
Politicians, specifically,
Politicians.
Right? Which I thought that was a really creative twist. I liked that.
It was. And guess what? They based... So it was a woman who in the 70s, like as a hippie, was like sleeping with all these people.
Oh,
and
yeah. I saw that part.
guess what? After the movie, I found out.
What?
They based that character on a real life woman whose name was...
Allison Theveny.
Absolutely not. Cynthia Plastercaster.
What? That wasn't her real last name.
I mean, that wasn't her real name. That was the name of her in the movie.
Cynthia Horsehands Plastercaster. What a coincidence.
I mean, that was her artist name. Her American
Plastercaster.
Cynthia Plastercaster.
And she went around plastering men's penises.
She was an American visual artist and self-described recovering groupie who gained fame for creating plaster casts of celebrities' erect penises.
Whoa.
And
I feel like that would take like a lot of trust on behalf of the celebrity because it takes some time to, plaster a penis.
I mean...
And then to stay hard for that long, that's kind of a lot that's going on.
I mean...
Props to her. And props to the men.
In 2022, at the age of 74.
Oh.
Shortly before death, she donated a copy of her 1968 plaster cast.
Of what?
Of a celebrity's penis to the Icelandic Phallological Museum.
Whose
and
penis?
guess whose it was?
Wait, let me guess.
Okay.
Give me a movie grid
hint.
hint.
So
Movie Grid, by the way, is this website. It's literally a grid where on like the X and Y axes, there's different words. And on the Y axes, there's actors' names. And then on the X axes, like for example, like name a 2-letter movie and you like fill in the boxes. So that's what Movie Grid is. But sorry, continue.
Oh, no, it's okay. I can give you a clue. The clue is that so often on this podcast, you are asking me to identify if someone is such and such person from such and such musical group, and I can't do it. So think musician.
Musician. Van Halen.
No.
Jim Morrison.
You got part of the name right there.
Jim.
Can you add a vowel to that?
Jim Yule. Jim Ayahuasca.
A musician.
Jim. Me. Jimmy.
Come on.
Wait, give me a second. Jimmy.
Come on.
Jimmy.
Viewers, I'm sure you're...
Is he black?
I think maybe actually, but I don't really know.
I'm trying to think of the guitarist.
That's a good thought. That's right.
Jimmy. He sings Hey Joe.
And he's
Hey
black.
Joe.
He's black.
Why do you got that gun in you?
So somehow this is again demonstrating my lack of musical knowledge. I had to look up.
Hey Joe. Shoot.
Hendrix?
Jimi Hendrix. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey Joe.
Okay.
I knew who it was. I just didn't know his last name. Sorry, Jimmy.
So a few other things we could talk about.
But do all lesbians like have dildos?
I mean, no, I don't. I think it's really a very personal. I don't think so. I think
because in this movie there was like Beanie had a dildo,
a wall dildo
nailed to her wall.
This is our not safe for work podcast.
Marianne and Margaret were the best of friends. I don't know if Marianne had a dildo.
Well, when they were carrying a bunch of them with them. That was
unknowingly.
Yeah, but then they found out, and then they're like trying to keep them away from these guys who are after them. And basically what's happening is like they're trying to recover them because these men are really important and are running for office. So they can't have their this secret come out. And the whole time they're going along the road trip, Margaret's character keeps making the Marianne character stop at lesbian bars, and she doesn't really want to do it, but she finds this fine every time. And they've had a big fight. But they kind of reunite at one of these lesbian bars in Florida. And then the guy who's been on their tail tries to get the case. I think he succeeds. But then Beanie showed up because they had this weird arrangement where if Beanie went to the place where the car was picked up and found someone hurt, she would believe their story about what's been happening to them. And Beanie's character's a cop. But she goes there. She can't see the man because the man's beneath the table unable to move. He sees someone out there. He's trying to get her attention, but it doesn't work. So she thinks that they're lying. And so if they were lying, she gets to bring the dog that they shared to Margaret Qualley's character to be here, you have to take care of this dog now. I don't want it anymore. And so she's there and she sees the suspicious man running off with the case or something like that. And she ends up shooting him because he's doing something aggressive or dangerous. And so then there's a shot of a newspaper. The headline is "Senator shot outside lesbian bar, found carrying plaster penis and severed head." And the severed head part of it all is the Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
His head was also in the case because he got beheaded for some reason.
Because he initially had the case.
Oh.
And then he's trying to run away with it. And then those guys, I forget who they were.
But anyway, I thought that was pretty funny that this man was trying to cover up this thing that was out there in the world to try to hide this like secret that he ends up getting shot in a way where it makes him look like very shady and in seedy, you know, in a seedy kind of subculture. And I think he's quoted in the article saying, "I can explain." And I just thought that was pretty amusing. Do you remember? Yeah, we're not talking about this, but do you remember that one line was like, "Will anybody save Curly?" That was funny.
He was the one that worked at like the car rental place.
Will anybody save Curly?
They cut back to him randomly.
I just thought there were like a lot of fun things like that, or like the Game of Thrones homage, like what Pedro Pascal in the beginning.
I'm telling you, watch Raising Arizona and you'd be like, oh, this is a much more successful version of this movie.
No, I thought it was fun. I liked it. And I have many more facts about it, but instead I'm going to go back to my other list because I feel like we're leaving Love Lives.
I feel like we covered both of them pretty well. Let's start talking about our lives really quick.
Well, wait 1 second.
And wrap this thing up.
One moment. We talk about location.
No.
Okay, well, one thing I do think it's important to talk about before we launch into our lives is very important, actually. It's about financing, which is Driveway Dolls took a very long time to make. And it couldn't be made on a lot of lesbian films from the past. Independent films were made on very small budgets like Desert Hearts and Go Fish, and they're considered very successful, critically well-received films. Yeah. But this movie couldn't be done that way, and it took a really long time to get to the screen. And I think that is cool that we live in a time where that could happen. And also, on the flip side, I don't really know a lot about the financing of Love Lies Bleeding, but I do know that Kristen Stewart has been trying to get her directorial debut financed and has had a very difficult time doing so. So much so that she has decided not to act in any other films until she gets the financing that she needs, with the exception that she will appear in her fiance's film. So I just think that's an important thing to highlight. All right, what's going on in your life? Tell me. Tell me.
So Allison's mom visited last weekend for Mother's Day. One of the most incredible dinners, Jitlada, which is a Thai restaurant near us. And it was so amazing and I loved it.
You know what my favorite part was?
What?
Not the food, not the conversation, not the company. All those were great parts.
Oh.
But my favorite part is, you know how much I like being right. And we were outside and there was this character who's the owner. And she's just like a big personality. Like there was 2 big parties trying to get into the restaurant. There's no reservations. You have to kind of stand in the parking lot and wait to be called in. And she kept popping up being like, no, everyone's not here. Then you can't come in. You could feel her presence. And Joe was like, oh, I love this lady. And then one of the group's people knew her and they like said her name. And on the list of people to get in, there was a party named Jazzy. I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Her name is Jazz. And you were like, no, it's not. It's Jess. It's Jess. Her name is Jess. And I was like, are you sure? I'm like, I guess you might be right. Like, I read Jazzy off of the list. You might be right. But then in the restaurant, we were seated beneath a news article about the restaurant. We discovered that her name was indeed
That was your favorite part of the night?
No, it's not my favorite part. Just a funny story.
I believe you presented it as your favorite part.
I do like being right.
About the person's name, which is saying a lot because the food was incredible.
Great. Anyway,
it was just really cool. Yeah, and all of us got these really good meals, and I could not pick a favorite out of all of what everyone ordered.
No, it's
so
awesome.
I needed to taste all of it to really like appreciate it.
Yes,
it was
Joe's a big
good.
family style person.
Take me back.
But yeah, I mean, the weekend was awesome. And I feel like one of the most exciting parts was that I did get to go to a bunch of different restaurants that I think each night we ate like at a famous place. So we went to Formosa, Jitlada, El Cholo, which was the oldest Mexican restaurant in Los Angeles. And then Rao's, which apparently is called Rayo's.
Which makes more sense to me.
I don't know. I'm still kind of thrown by that. But we got the Sunday sauce and it was...
The Sunday sauce. I got the Sunday sauce.
It's so good that my friends want to go to a place called Sunday Sauce on Friday.
There's a place called Sunday Sauce.
Yeah, and I almost don't want to go. So I'm like, it's not the Rayo's Sunday Sauce. But anyway, that was the highlight. Oh, we went to Disneyland.
Disney. And then also for the first time, I went to Ruby Fruit with Allison, which I feel like is very fitting for Driveway Dolls.
Oh, yes. It allows me to sprinkle in another fact.
Sprinkle it in.
From the movie.
Sprinkle away.
Which is that they wanted to keep it set in the 2000s because it mirrored Trisha Cook's real life experience of going to lesbian bars in that time period. But now we live in a time where there are very few lesbian bars. There are only 27 bars left in the country or something like that. But fear not, there seems to be a renaissance in queer lady bars, and there are now 2 near us in LA. But yeah, I really enjoyed going to the Ruby Fruit.
And another thing that I can't believe we almost forgot to talk about. We went to the Cara, and who should walk by in the lobby but
Kristen Bell.
She was wearing a very striking sweater.
That's why I noticed her.
And Allison pointed her out to me, and I like saw like her profile a bit, but basically like as her profile was like turning away, we were seeing her from like the side, but then she was like walking into the restaurant. It was very exciting.
I love a good celebrity sighting.
And the Cara also reminds me that they have the best smelling hand soap Aesop, and they also have it at the Ruby Fruit.
So we went to the Cara with our friend for their birthday.
Yeah.
And we talked about the soap. And then we went to the bathroom.
I made a big deal about it.
And then
how much I loved it.
My friend's partner. And then we went to the bathroom, me and my friend, and we were kind of like, the soap, it's fine.
You too?
I mean, I don't know. It was fine. I thought it smelled good, but my friend was just like, it's fine. It's like so masculine. And I was kind of like, yeah.
You said
I was
that
very swept up.
You both were washing each other's hands. And she
we were washing one another's hands.
She looked at you and said, smells kind of masculine.
No.
Right?
She was washing her hands and she said, the soap's just okay. It smells really masculine to me. Or like, it's not that great kind of like implication. And I was like, yeah, but I was like, whatever. But I didn't really have any strong opinions about the soap. But I have to tell you, there was other really good soap this weekend. And I can't remember where it was. Oh no. Wait.
Was it Aesop?
No. It was a totally different brand. Shoot.
Well, it doesn't seem like it has name recognition and you didn't care enough to remember the name of it. So
maybe it was a dream.
Did you say maybe it was a dream?
Yeah.
What?
Because it's just like such a weird memory.
I did find better smelling soap, but it was actually in a dream.
Will you tell me about a really mundane dream I had that was really eerie?
Those are two different thoughts. You had a really mundane dream that was eerie.
But also explain why it was eerie, because it's so mundane. So I dreamed I was coming out of my bathroom in my room, and on my bookshelf, which is right by my bathroom, there was a book I've read before called Say Nothing. Sitting out there, I'm like, oh, there's Say Nothing. I love that book. And then,
Really quick. There's, how you can be like, say more, say more. I feel like a new slang now is say less.
Yeah, which is a rude thing to say.
But now even more extreme slang, you can say nothing.
I mean, the book is about the troubles in Ireland and how you shouldn't say anything because it's going to get you killed. But anyway.
Again, say nothing.
But anyway, I didn't even realize I dreamed this. And then,
Are you sure you weren't sleepwalking?
No, because the day was happening.
What do you mean the day was happening?
Like...
You fell asleep during the day?
No. Like at some point during a day, I thought I had this memory of the book being on my shelf. And then I went to look at it. I was like, it's not there. And then I thought about it and I was like, this book is not here in LA with me. And that freaked me
And then you realized it was a dream that you had? We're really desperate for content in this episode.
We could. I have my facts.
No more facts, please. No.
I have lots more to say. We didn't really talk about Love's Lies Bleeding too much. That's okay.
Say nothing. How can we tie this dream back into the movies? Anyway, dreams, I'd say you can attach better to Love Lies Bleeding because that movie was more
dreamier,
transcendental, especially towards the end, where it kind of like became more of a metaphorical story.
True.
Drive-Away Dolls was a little more literal, yet at the same time more silly and goofy than Love Lies Bleeding. In the end, even though I personally like Love Lies Bleeding more, I wouldn't want to discredit Drive-Away Dolls and all the things that Allison was saying about how they like intended it for it to be a B movie. I really do appreciate that sentiment. And with all my complaints of it, I think it's like an important story and it was interesting and it had interesting things to say. It was entertaining. All the actors were good. Yeah. No complaints there.
Yeah.
Maybe just like the overall story, for whatever reason, it just kind of felt, just because the strength of the Coen brothers is so strong, it's really hard to
split them up.
And then try to make a movie that's going to top their past releases.
That's extremely true.
So there was a lot of weight on their shoulders.
And I will say I felt like there's like a lot of style in that movie and not a lot of substance. Yeah. Like even though like the characters, like their little traits, like one's repressed, one's not.
Yeah.
And they're going to fall in love. But like if you really dug beneath the like hood, there wasn't much to them, which is very different from Love Lies Bleeding.
Yeah. And I'd say Love Lies Bleeding 2 has its problems. Like I think, like I had mentioned, I felt like there were like tropes and stereotypes they could have embellished on. But I think that was really interesting. Your point of like, you think that it's going to be just about Dave Franco being this domestic abuser. It's going to all lead to like this third act of eventually one of them killing him. But it happens so much earlier in the movie because it's not about that. I like really appreciate that. I also think we didn't really touch on it. There's a really fun, I wish they were able to like embellish on it more. There's a really fun dynamic between Kristen Stewart and her sister, who I forget her name.
How can you forget? You love this lady.
I love her. She gives me chills in Catching Fire.
Jenna?
Yes, Jenna Maloney.
Jenna Malone.
They had like this hilarious interaction. towards the end of the movie in the bedroom. I forget what happens, but they're just like arguing. I wish I could remember the dialogue.
It was something like,
but it was just like a heightened version of like the dynamic between siblings.
Yeah.
It was very like specific to sisters, but it was just this contrasted so much against this really violent movie that was unraveling before our very eyes. So that was really fun. I just think it was like really exciting. I do want to go back and visit St. Maud, which is Rose Glass's first movie.
yeah, I'd watch that.
I've heard that it's actually really good.
And that could be QCC
horror
because
movie.
Rose is bisexual.
Oh yeah.
So let's do it.
Anything she touches, we can talk about.
That's the rules. There are no rules. Maybe we'll only talk about lesbian films in pairs, which I hope we don't do that because that seems like we're short shrifting lesbian movies.
That really does. Why did we make this a double feature?
Because I think they came out at the same time. And so
it's been such a while.
Like if we had seen them more recently, I think it would have been really sharp and intellectual and stimulating. But hopefully there was a little bit of that and then a little bit of fun.
Yeah. For those who tune in, we love having you here.
We do.
Please keep visiting.
Yes, please.
Queer Cinema Catchup is available on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, anywhere where podcasts are available. We're there. We're also on YouTube. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're everywhere.
And we're creating more TikTok content.
We're creating more content. Please like, subscribe. If you'd be so kind to leave a review, we would be forever in your debt. And of course, as we say on every episode, please email Allison at queercinemacatchup@gmail.com and share your thoughts on the movie or any unrelated questions that you had or suggestions.
Yes. Please email me because the only emails I've gotten have been people who've gone to my website and asked me if I want help with SEO, blah, 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 blah. And
which other people might call that spam.
Why?
I don't think they're personally reaching out.
Well, they're signing their names.
Queer Cinema Catchup is a movie podcast where we talk about queer-related movies, TV shows, and miscellaneous topics that may or may not be queer. I'm Joe.
And I'm Allison.
Thank you so much for listening, and goodbye.
Good night. Goodbye. It's nighttime here. Bye.
And love you. Bye. Also, I think really good.
Did I say I love you?
No, I got new health insurance. And I have like a designated person that helps me with my health insurance. I was like, thank you so much. He was like, thank you. I was like, bye. He said, love you.
He did? Oh. So do you think that he like was auto memory?
Yes, I think
do you think he's harboring secret love for you?
But yes, anyway. Goodbye. Love you.
Bye. Love you.